What is up, guys? It is the Kill Shot 90 here, your host, and I just said I'm gonna do a video talking about what NetherRealms has been doing and what their plans are in the future and what we're all hoping they do. So, technically, there's 3 games on the list. I've heard a bunch of YouTubers only talk about 2. I think there's 3, and let's go with the one that a lot of people are talking about, and that is Mortal Kombat 11. Do I want to see this game? Yeah, I liked MKX, and I'd like to see what they do with um, MK11. Do I hope they keep a lot of the actual special guests into the lineup and just add more? Yeah, that'd be awesome, because I'd love for them to keep Jason and Leatherface and Alien and Predator in the lineup so you can still play as them in 11, but add more to it. Add Fred Krueger, add Michael Myers, stuff like that. Is that one that I think's gonna happen right off the bat? No. I do think that they're going to make an MK11, even though there was rumors a lot going around that Mortal Kombat X was the last Mortal Kombat game NetherRealms was making. Completely. They were done. As soon as this game was over, it was done. And I think that might be why there kind of wasn't a cliffhanger at the end of MKX like there was with Mortal Kombat 9. But I think Ed Boon will more than likely decide to just continue the series and do new things with it and add characters that were from the series, just revamp them and renew them. Now, the game that I actually think they are going to make next, and they're hinting at it so hard, is Mortal Kombat versus DC. And the reason I think they're doing that is if any of y'all are Injustice 2 fans, like I am, they revealed Fighter Pack 2, and lo and behold, we got the turd lightning god Raiden. And that's not saying I hate Raiden, but I don't want him in my DC game. We already got one MK character, and that's Sub-Zero. I was fine with that because it's one. You totally could have put Static Shock in replace of Raiden. Nobody needed another Mortal Kombat character. But the reason I think they did it, and they chose to ignore everybody else, because I know it's not licensing purpose for Static Shock. Static Shock is DC. DC owns that character. And if they have the okay for all these other DC characters, they had the okay for him. They just chose not to go with him. They chose to put the turd lightning god Raiden in there because they're going to do another Mortal Kombat versus DC, and they wanted to test the waters with Injustice 2. See how people reacted. Did they think the fighting was perfect and without having the fatalities or the brutalities that was in the first game? Could it still be a decent game? And I can say that it works in a way, and it is fun playing as Sub-Zero in this game. But do I prefer him just to be in his bloody, gory self of Mortal Kombat? Yes. I prefer to be able to perform fatalities, to do all that fun stuff. But it still works in the Injustice universe and abilities that they have for the game. Now let's hope with the third pack there isn't another sneak it up the butt Mortal Kombat character, because if there is, then the DLC packs are gonna have a feel to me, and the game is definitely gonna lose its credibility for putting too many. They're not special guest characters. They're not. They're owned by NetherRealm. Those characters are not special guest characters. And I think that's what they're kind of going for. And I'll get more into Fighter Pack 2 later on. Probably tomorrow or in a couple of days. Now, the game that I'm hoping they make, this one, is um, a horror fighting game, kind of like Terradrome, and you'll see that I've got that across the screen here through the whole thing. Um, Terradrome is a pretty decent game. The people that make that game, I don't believe they own the licensing to any of those characters, so they are kind of making a game that is not viable and creatable on a console for that purposes, but they are still making a fun game. And I think if NetherRealms got hold of them, they got their creators over there, and they added them with their creators, and they collaborated on making Terradrome an actual game with with legal licensings behind it, behind the owners of these characters, then we would have an amazing horror fighting game. And I mean, we already got to kind of see that with Jason and Leatherface in Mortal Kombat. And I would love to see a Mortal Kombat based horror game. And I think they could do really wonders with it, adding the fatality ability to it, but changing it from, well, you can even leave a fatality since it is owned by NetherRealms. Just say fatality, or something referencing towards slashers. Now, if they did that, what characters could we expect to have in this game? Well, we already know Jason and Leatherface would be in it. They'd get an uplift, like they would have the whole new Injustice 2 look with the better facial. They may go with more of zombie type Jason, or keep the variety where you could choose different outfits, and then the varieties would actually be the different weapon types that he could use. So you would be mixing, or you could even put gear. Maybe not gear. So you'd just be mixing the game with the process from MKX. We have the different versions of them, but it wouldn't change so much. It would just change the weapon and the way their fighting style was. And I'd be okay with that. So we know Jason and Leatherface. I'm probably going to say Freddy and Michael would also be in there because they've already had Freddy in MK9, and Michael would just be the next step. I'm pretty sure they would have Ghostface, and I'm pretty sure they would have It in there. And they're more likely going to have Pinhead, Candyman, Maniac Cop. I would go as far back as to Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, Jekyll and Hyde. Just get these. And sorry if there was a pause there. I was thinking in my head because I'm a huge horror fan, and I think NetherRealm has a good process for making games. They know what games people want. When it comes to DLC, they kind of screw you in the butt though, with some characters that you didn't really think need to be in there. But you'd have a huge list. They would just have to talk to individual companies. And I'm pretty sure these companies are going to be okay with working with them because they're going to want to get revenue for these characters. I definitely know the ones for Pinhead. They were going to lose their licensing a while back, and they made a crappy movie just to keep the licensing. Well, I'm pretty sure they still want to give reason why they need to keep the licensing, so put Pinhead in the game. And that's going to cause people to buy. So I'm going to end it here. I may actually go back into more detail about this Terradrome actual game. A real-life, complete Terradrome game for console and everything. Sometime today or next week. Probably next week, because I've also got 1-2-3 Knockout with my guest host, Rebel 180, this weekend. we're also working on a film, which will be on my other channel, The Movie Doctor. Go check that out. We are making a horror movie. Um, he's mostly writing it. I've stepped in to help with writing, so it's a co-writing experience to make sure it fits and is believable into a world of old slashers. So we want to bring that back, and I think y'all are gonna love it. It may get me flagged with YouTube or demonetized badly, even though I don't get money off this at all. But I get flagged for never being able to with them. But I'm okay with that because my channels are not for revenue purposes. They're for entertaining purposes. I'm here to entertain you with not getting anything back. I'm spending my own money into making these products, and I really hope y'all enjoy them. But I'll see you on